Hey guys, welcome back to another Tumbler tutorial. Today we're going to be working on this last minute St. Patty's Day design. I've been really uninspired lately, which is why I haven't been putting out many tutorials on top of being busy. But I just went and bought a bunch of new vinyls, a bunch of new glitters, a bunch of new tumbler styles, and it kind of really helped to get those creative juices flowing. So I got this and I immediately knew that I wanted to do a design with it, and especially the glitters that I got from Rae Creations. So I'll show those to you in combination with this vinyl. This vinyl is from 311 Co. and I'm going to use the hinge method to apply the vinyl to the tumbler. If you don't know what the hinge method is, we go over that a lot on this channel. It's basically cutting off a piece of the backing of the vinyl, and we're going to hinge that sticky part to the tumbler while we're pressing the backing off of the vinyl. The vinyl will adhere to the tumbler, just helping you get a straight line and applying it smoothly. If you do have any air bubbles or anything like that, you can go around and poke those with your X-Acto knife, press that air out, and you won't even notice it. Once the two ends of the vinyl meet, we're going to score that seam, and then I'm going to cut off any excess if I have any left over, making sure everything is lined up straight. If not, this vinyl is really great about being repositioned, so you can just lift it right back up, place it back down once it's lined up again, and move on with your day. After that, we're going to go in with some painter's tape just to cover up the vinyl so we don't get any paint over top of that. It was absolutely downpouring the day that I painted this, so I don't normally do hand painting. Normally I would spray paint it, but I like to humble myself and keep my skills up to par, which I learned very quickly was not the case. So maybe I'll do a little more hand painting in the future. So I just went in with some pastel acrylic paints that I had on hand. I didn't have any pastel orange, so I just added some white to my pumpkin orange and ran with it, and it worked perfectly. And then what I'm going to do is paint this. I don't have any Mod Podge in this because we'll use the epoxy method to apply the glitter. So it's just going to be straight acrylic paint, and then I measured my bottom portion into 6 separate parts. They were about 1.5 inches, but you'll have to measure your own tumbler. And that's just going to give me a rough guide as to where I want each color to lay. I didn't want any one particular color to be more present than the other in the rainbow, so I just roughly measured them off and tried to stay within those guidelines. This paint coverage is not the greatest. This is just some cheapy, I think it's Craft Smart is the brand of it. I think I got it from Michael's. It's like 60 cents or something. It's dirt cheap. So it doesn't have the greatest coverage. So you'll have to go back. I kind of went back once I got all of the colors laid down back to the beginning and recolored over them just to give them a little bit more opaqueness. But we're going to go over those. If you don't hand paint, you'll notice that you kind of have to go back and forth to get a good blend. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means because the glitter that we're using is pretty opaque. But if you're using more of a translucent glitter, you definitely want to be more mindful in your blending of your paints if you're not using spray paint, because transparent glitter does show the background of the colors of the paint more. So just be mindful of that, and I'll just let this play through. You can watch me go back and forth. This took, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. Definitely a longer than my spray painting process. I've gotten pretty good at spray painting ombres, but like I said, that wasn't an option. I'm gonna let this play through the rest of the way, and I will see you guys in the next glittering step. Okay, so once the paint is dry, you'll see that it's, like I said, not great coverage, and definitely not perfect, but we are going to work with it, and you'll notice in the end design, you won't even notice that I did not a great paint job. So we are going to apply just a teeny tiny bit of epoxy. I do use a little bit more than normal because this mini chunky collection does need a little bit more epoxy to help the glitter lay flat. With finer cut glitters, you don't need as much epoxy. It doesn't take as much to soak in. You'll notice if you do use less epoxy on a thicker glitter that your glitter will tend to stand up a little bit more than normal. You're just gonna have to do a couple extra coats of epoxy to cover that pokey glitter. So this is the new Kawaii collection from Rae Creations. She had this in a fine cut collection. She just got the mini chunky collection, and I actually went and got both of them. I spent way too much on those glitters, but I just knew that I immediately needed them as soon as I saw them. So that's nobody's business but me and my wallets. Don't tell my husband. Anyways, so we are going to apply this over the coordinating paint colors. I'm not using full coverage yet. I'm just kind of laying them down. I say this as I put full coverage on this blue section. I'm just kind of road mapping where I want my glitters to be, and I'm ombreing them, obviously not top to bottom like normal. I'm doing them left to right. So when I'm ombreing my glitters, I kind of do a harsh line in the center of the paint, like the purple section, and then I'll fade it or cascade it to the left a little bit and then to the right a little bit so it gets into the pink section and also back into the blue section. And then I just kind of do that back and forth until I get a good blend. And then once I'm happy with that, I'll just go in full coverage. Once you've got all of your glitter applied, you're gonna go in with a piece of paper or wax paper, whatever you want to use to flatten that out, just to help the coats of epoxy go on smoother. We're going to immediately remove that painter's tape and then set that on the drying rack overnight. So this step is totally optional and is really only an option if you use a Tipsy Magnolia tumbler. I go in and you'll notice I didn't glitter the bottom. That's because I go in and remove the bottom. We are going to do a gold glitter butt on this. So I apply my epoxy and glitter and paint and all of that first, and then immediately after I'm done glittering, I pop that bottom off. And then if you're doing that at this point, you can go ahead and put it on your drying rack. I did seal it with Krylon Triple Thick Spray after the epoxy had dried under the glitter, just so all those glitters didn't move around. And then once that was done drying the following day, I put it on my turner with a coat of Flynn Sisters regular setting epoxy. And I did cover the vinyl with epoxy first, just in case I had any glitter kind of roaming around that didn't get fully sealed in. I didn't want any glitter to migrate up into the vinyl, so I just did the vinyl first, then went in and glittered it, and after that I torched the epoxy and let it spin until it was dry. After 2 coats of epoxy and curing, I went in with my sanding block here and buffed out this bottom edge. There was a little bit of pokey glitter remaining on here, so I just buffed that out, and then a couple of pieces on the flat surface here. And once you're done buffing those glitter pieces out, you're gonna go over this with either rubbing alcohol and a paper towel, or you can wash it with soap and water. And then I'm just gonna go in really simple to finish this off. I'm using the textured gold metallic from Tech Wrap Craft. This is sized 11.5 width by 0.06 in height. I'm gonna do 1 strip of this, and then we're gonna do the glitter booty. We're using Venus, and this is from Rae. Midas is from Peachy Olive Glitters. I used a little bit more Midas than Venus because it's more like a pot of gold color. I wanted just a little bit of the opal flakes from Venus, and I wanted more of the gold tones from Midas. And I mixed those together with some UV epoxy. It was about 15 milliliters total. You want your mixture of glitter and epoxy to be not chunky. You want it to be able to be spread around. And then once you've got that all mixed up and to a consistency that you like, the easiest way for me to do this is to put the glitter mixture into the center of the tumbler, or the base of it, and then kind of push it outwards around the little ring around the edge. That's just the cleanest way that I found for myself, at least, to make sure it doesn't spill over the edge or anything like that. And then once we've got that all filled up, we're going to torch that and put it under the UV light to cure. I did one final coat of Flynn Sisters regular setting Artist Cure resin, let that cure overnight, and this cup is completely finished. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you have a great St. Patty's Day, and I will see you guys in the next video.